Hey, good morning, Chavra. Good Tavach, Shvua Tov. We are on page 70 of Chayenu. Thank you, Reb Chaim Massad, for lending me your Chayenu today. For some reason, ours did not arrive yet. I hope everyone else got theirs. I know Yuda, maybe you didn't get yours yet either. Did it come in the mail? Okay.
Not yet. Not yet.
I sent a message to the director saying this is the first time in a long time. Anyway, yesterday we were saying that you want to come out of the sun, Larry? You want to come up here? So yesterday we were saying that if a person eats treif, there's ways that he could rectify and purify. When a person sins, their soul becomes tainted and needs rectification, purification. When he eats non-kosher food, the cleansing process is when the soul goes through a purification. In today's lesson, so the Alter Rebbe is talking about when you do certain things, unfortunately, there's ramifications. When you speak Lashon Hara, it stains the soul and it requires a cleansing in the afterlife. What about idle chatter? There comes to shul and he's hacking China, right? Should be davening instead of, or at least study. So one was able to study, but he doesn't. For him, idle chatter is forbidden. But what about the simple guy? Okay, maybe the simple guy could have casual conversation if he's not able to learn. But sarich l'tayir nafshi mituma zu deklipa zu ayidei gilgula v'kafakela k'meshikos b'zer. So that simple person, he has to go through a cleansing process in the afterlife. And they call it kafakela, which is hollow of a sling. Okay. To explain more over here, I don't think we need to get into it too much, but he's slung from one end of the world to the other, or from Israel to the other lands, meaning the neshama has to go through like a washing machine. That's words that if he's just hacking in China, right? Shooting the breeze. But with regard to forbidden speech, Lashon Hara or the like, Lashon Hara. What about other words that seem to be inappropriate? So since they come from the three klippas, the unclean klippas, this hollow of the sling, that's what it's called here, but this, being slung from one end of the world to the other, this cleansing process does not suffice to cleanse or remove the impurity of the soul. Person has to go to a harsh burning place, Gehenna, purgatory, which is much more effective in cleaning the soul. Now let's be clear. The Torah is not talking about punishment. The Torah is talking about cleansing the soul so it can go to Gan Eden. So it's not a punishment. It's a cleansing process before you get the reward for all the good that you did. But if you're dirty, before you go to a fancy event, you got to get cleaned up. Got to get a haircut. Got to go in the shower. But if you're muddy and dirty, the more muddy and dirty you are, the harder it's going to be to scrape off the dirt and the grime, right? I always thought about like mechanics. They have oils all over their hands. Their hands are black, right? And certain people that work their hands, it takes a lot to get ready for Shabbos. For us, just jump in the shower, take a quick shower, boom, you're good to go. But guys that work with their hands, it'll be much more difficult. So then he says, what about a person who's able to study Torah and he doesn't? This kafakela is not going to help to scour and cleanse his soul. But it must receive the severe penalties which are meted out for neglecting the Torah. Vad oynish klali l'chol bitul mitzvahs asay me'achmas atzlus, sorry, begehenom shel sheleg before makemacher. So apart from the regular cleansing process and tshuva and whatever he has to go through, he also has to go through this purgatory of snow. Huh. It has to be rolled around in the snow. Do we want to go outside in the snow without our clothing on? No, it's cold. So you have to go through this, as explained elsewhere. The Arizal explains that other places. Okay. If a person indulges too much in what the nations of the world, movies and scrolling on your phone, you could be instead learning, instead of watching your shows on Netflix, you could be learning Torah. This is a problem. But you say to moreover, the impurity of the intellectual disciplines of the nations is greater than the impurity of idle speech. The latter clothes and defiles only the emotions which emanate from the holy element of Ruach within his divine soul. So that's talking about if a person neglects to study Torah. Tumas klipas neigash shabdvarim metelim. By tainting them with the impurity of klipas neiga contained in idle speech. That was what I was looking for. Person is just doing, talking dvarim metelim, idle talk. That comes from the evil element of ruach, of air, of this klipa in his animal soul, as mentioned above. Idle speech does not, however, defile the levels of Chabad, only the midas, but it doesn't defile the levels of his intellectual faculties. For it is but words of foolishness and ignorance. Even fools and ignoramuses can speak that way, since they are not intellectual matters. The intellect remains uninvolved and untainted, even though you think it comes from your head. Really, yes, it comes from your mouth, but it's an emotional lack of awareness, not necessarily an intellectual. You didn't think, and you're like, oh, let me talk dirty, nasty. I want to destroy this guy with, you're not premeditating thoughts. You're just hacking a chinik, right? You're speaking words. Yeah, you're wasting your time. But when it comes to all the other things that the rest of the world cucks in, like they're all caught up in this nonsense, whatever it might be. There's one particular woman, she calls me, the world's coming to an end, all this and this. I always tell her, stop watching the news. Just live your life. She lives in a small town in Pennsylvania. I said, stop watching the news. You're going to be fine. Okay, we have to protect ourselves. We have to do it. But if you just watch the news, they want to share doom and gloom, and they want to have clickbait on all the shows, the YouTube clips and everything, in order to scare you so you watch more. Don't pay attention. So in the case of the science of the nations, thereby one clothes and defiles his divine soul and the faculties of Chabad with the impurity. So if you're just talking narishkeit, just words when you should be davening or learning, that's not good. But if you get all involved in what goes on in the world, and your whole mind is caught up in it, not only are your emotions lost and have to be retrieved, but your mindset is getting all caught up and needs to be fixed. And that's not good. So whether we're talking about Shanafla Shama B'Sfiras HaKelim B'Chinas HaKarayim Shal Chachma Dikdusha, we're talking here in particular the sciences, whether they fall into the shattered vessels out of the Bechinas Sakarayim, the hind part of Chachma of holiness. So thus the study of these sciences, whatever is going on in the world, and you're getting all involved in it, they contaminate the intellectual faculties of the godly soul, and it's much worse than idle speech. Because idle speech attaches and attacks the emotions. But when you're thinking about things that are going on in the world, politics, sciences, movies, entertainment, social media, whatever it is, and you're putting your mind to it, that's much worse than just chit chat when you shouldn't. Unless one employs them, meaning if your business is in the stock market, so you're following the stock market, but if you stop following the stock market and you don't have stocks, and it's something that you're excited about, you're into cars and you're looking, you want to know how every single car works and how fast they go and and that's not your business. Meaning, it's not something that you do to earn a living, and you're not trading, you're not buying, and so why are you wasting your time? You could be learning Torah. So if you're using your intellect for foreign things, which are not directly, are not connected to your livelihood or to Torah, then you're wasting your time. So it says here. So if you're using them for useful things as means of earning a living, then you're able to serve Hashem with it. Then then you're uplifting it. You're looking into the stock market because you're in the stocks, and then you're using that money that you earn to support your family and give tzedakah. But if not, you're wasting your time. Or if he knows how to apply them to the service of Hashem, he's able to take the sciences that he learns and he shows you how it's compatible with Torah, and he's able to explain these arguments to people that come, to argue how Torah and science don't interact. For example, he utilizes mathematics to better understand the laws of Kiddush Levana, sanctification of the moon, which we have to do tonight. Later on, by the way, last night, a short while later, the moon was nice and bright. We could have done Kiddush Levana, but when we went outside last night, it was a little great. The Zel Time Shal Rambam, Ramban is a Krem of Raka, is Siyasan La'aska Bahem. This is the reason why the Rambam, Maimonides, and Nachmanides of blessed memory and their peers engaged in them in the sciences, since they were able to utilize this knowledge in the service of God and the Torah. The Baal Tanya himself was very, very wise when it came to mathematics, science, history, and all that. In fact, he was very well known. There's a famous story about how Alter Rebbe figured out how a very wealthy nobleman had a sundial, a sun clock, and what was wrong, and must have been a tree far away that was blocking the sun at a certain time. It was messing up the rhythm of the clock. Anyway, so the takeaway is we have to watch our mouth. We have to be careful what we say. We have to be careful what we think. Because usually you don't say what you don't think. So if it's knee-jerk reaction, you see each other, hey, how you doing? Oh, did you hear about this, that, and the other? You're not disparaging anybody. You're just wasting a little time. You're shooting the breeze. Okay, maybe it affects your emotions while you could have been learning. But when you talk about the latest shows that came out and the latest celebrities and this and that and the other, so I would just maybe argue sports if you're using it to relax and unwind a little bit, but don't get so into it. You don't have to know the scores of every single game, and you don't have to be too over the top. And I'm talking to myself. So anyways, that's the story. And when we do, listen, if we do, then we're going to have some cleansing, which might be a little painful. So we want to keep on track and make sure that our thoughts and our speech and our actions are dedicated to Hashem, the Torah, the mitzvahs, the learning, the davening. I'll just say goodbye now for now and see